Good morning. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Executive Insights.
The most informative stream for aspiring and growing entrepreneurs.
I'm the CEO of FaceTime as well as the founder of the FaceTime Foundation, Gervais Nelson. I have the honor of sharing space alongside my amazing co-host.
Hey y'all, I am Marie Rose, CEO of Rosebud Studios and president of Rose Petals to Success.
All right, and with us we have an amazing guest who will introduce herself because I don't feel like we'll do an honor, but I'll give you a hint. It's right here in this cup.
So my name is Shakira. I'm assistant to Miss Khadija, owner of Spanish Flavors. And we work together to try to bring a unique twist to the restaurant and hospitality business. We like to present hospitality with the services that we provide. And we are a new upcoming business that's partnering with Miss Marie Rose here, and it's been an honor.
Awesome.
And then T is amazing.
Yes, it is.
So if you have not followed him on Instagram, the tag is Spanish
Flavors.
Great T. Amazing. All right.
And he didn't even know you were coming.
I did not know.
I did not. So that tells you right
can't
there.
set this up. All right. So this week we have 3 nice questions. Marie, please tell everyone what they are.
Okay, so question 1. If you could start over with no connections, how would you build a network from scratch? Okay, question 2. How do you know if you're pricing your services correctly? And we just talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
And question 3. What's one non-traditional way to attract high-value clients?
Question number 1. This is for our aspiring entrepreneurs. This is for everyone who's thinking about starting a business, new to business, and not really sure, but you just want to see like what's out there and what's waiting around the corner for you. The question is, if you could start over with no connections, how would you build your network from scratch? Marie, you're an expert in this one. I'm definitely giving this one to you first.
So for me, that's real easy because when I started, I didn't have a network.
Mm-hmm.
So I purposely, when I started and I didn't have a network, I put my energy into putting on blinders, which I thought was the best thing and the most important thing to do was put on my blinders so I don't get influenced by other people's ideas. I wanted to really stay focused on what my idea was and work on that without being influenced. However, it took me 3.5 to 4 years to figure out that was completely wrong. Yes, it helped me, but it made me go slower than it could have because I needed to weigh more on a network. Once I established a network from 3 to 4 years until now, I did double the amount of work that I got done in those first 3 years. And people watching from the outside thought that in those first 3 years I was able to accomplish so much, but I would have accomplished 3 times that if I had a network first. Building my social equity, being my genuine self, because that's how you build your network. Your network is built off of trust. Your network is built off of not how much you can suck out of someone, but how much you're willing to give. And as you give, things come to you. Customers will come to you naturally. So being able to share your talent and fill that room with what you have, it may not be, you think you can't apply to a 7-figure business because you're just starting, but honestly, because the person is at 7 figures, they may have forgot, and your grit and grind reminds them of why they started. So you never know what you bring to the table. So building the network is just showing up, finding out the rooms that you should be in, to meet people that you need to advance in your business.
I'm gonna piggyback on that 100%, which is, we always talk about it, be intentional when you go into a room.
Yep.
So if I'm starting from scratch, just like you, I don't think I really built a solid network until about year 3, year 4.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, everything has kind of took off like wildfire. Same thing, just trying to build it myself. I do good work, I have good product, I'm the best at what I do. Come work with me. And it doesn't work that way. A lot of people kind of shy away from you. So I always thought, if you're good at, I was taught actually, if you're good at something, you'll be rewarded. You work hard, everybody's gonna see you. That's not true. Doesn't happen, doesn't grow without your network. So to build that up from scratch, I would be more intentional, more purposeful. Even in the beginning, I was kind of just going to everything. like this network was happening, this network was happening. Well, what am I doing at, an all women's conference for women empowerment? Doesn't really help me. You know what I mean? So I don't need to be there. I need to make sure that I'm going to the right place to make sure I'm meeting the right people to advance in what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So I started going to places like contractors networking. I started going to places like, just to be more specific about somebody that works in services, I started going to real estate conferences. I started going to specific things for what it was that I was looking for to actually meet the people that I wanted to meet. I started going to art galleries. I started going to these different things to network with the people there so that I can grow in the space in which I wanted to grow. Instead of just going to every single thing, wasting a lot of time, I just became more purposeful, more intentional, and I was able to meet all the right people. And that's how you can build your network from scratch.
It's kind of the stages where we are right now in Spanish Flavors, piggybacking off of what you said about just showing up, really being intentional about where you're spending your time and who you're connecting with, and looking for those opportunities where like-minded people are coming together to share resources. But like Marie also said, it's also about what you're willing to give back.
Yes.
So when you're going to these functions and events, it's not just about exposure and putting yourself out there and putting your product out there. It's about supporting other entrepreneurs as well. Because it's like a really wonderful thing that we can come together as entrepreneurs to support one another and fill in those gaps. And but it just takes really showing up on the days where you're probably not making a lot of money, showing up on the days where you're not feeling your best, but still pushing and being consistent. And definitely not being scared to put your product out there, because there are a lot of people putting different things, similar things, offering similar things, similar services, but you have to focus on what you're bringing to the industry that you do best, and really put that on the front line and market that. And something that we do to really get people to come on board with Spanish Flavors is we offer our samples. Once you sample our product, you love it, you want it. So really putting your product out there sometimes means really taking that risk sometimes, but definitely to these events and functions, whether you're looking them up on Instagram or Eventbrite, really seeking those expos, those connections, those workshops, looking at what your city has to offer. Yeah, that's the kind of stage we're in.
Yeah, that was good.
So question number 2. This is for the new business owners. Year 0, year 3, new to business, feeling good, everything's going well, everything's exciting, everything's brand new. Question is, how do you know? This question I think is my favorite question. How do you know if you're pricing your services correctly? Anybody?
You just said your favorite.
It is my favorite.
Come on,
I got you. So often we get into business and we're not really sure if we're charging too much. So we don't want to overprice people and lose customers that way. So what we do, sometimes we take a cheaper route. I'm going to slash my prices so that I can get more customers or more clients. In which case, a lot of businesses, that's why they don't make it past year 2, year 3, because you're not making any profit. You're not making any. It's all good. You're not making any profit. Therefore, when your business happens, you're not actually being profitable to actually grow and expand your business. So a good way to do that is you got to understand your overhead and your costs. Again, I do a lot of things backwards. I do, how much am I going to spend? How much is it going to cost to do? How much is this going to cost me? Now that I understand how much it's going to cost, I have to come up with a number that allows me to sustain what I'm doing. So then you understand how much your tea business. You understand the tea is going to cost me this much. The labeling is going to cost me this much. The packaging is going to cost me this much. The product's going to cost this much. Okay, cool. That's the number. $100,000. All right. Well, if I charge $900,000, you're coming up short. Let's use a small number. It costs you $100 to make something. Well, if you sell it for $80, you're losing $20 every single time. You're done. You're out of business. Okay, well, if it's $100, but you're charging 120, but the person next to you costs 110, chances are you got to hustle a little harder. But that's where branding and different things like that come in, so you probably can still charge that 120. I always say go to Google, use chat. What's the average price in my area for this product? That's a good quick resource that you can go to. How much does a landscaper make for mowing? You can put that in there and you can find out, okay, it's between this and this. Now you know your window. Now you got to go back to your numbers and your data and figure out, okay, is that number good for me? Because your overhead might be more. Mm-hmm. To go out to Jersey, it costs more to work in South Philly. It costs more to work in, Southwest. So then you got to really dive into the numbers, really dive into the data to see what it's going to take, what's your number to actually turn a profit and to keep you going and be sustainable.
For me, it's easy for us to forget how much it costs per item. Mm-hmm. Because we put the money in, it's going to cost us $100. Oh wow, I made $150. I'm good. No, it's easy for us to do that because we forget. And this is something that I need to work on too, because I'm the one to run a sale fast. Because in my industry of events, that part of my industry and events, that is a very competitive space. However, it's competitive, but then it's not if you know how to market yourself. So if you set a standard for where you want to price yourself, you can run a sale and still be above the people who are in your industry. But you have to stay in that standard and that consistent standard. So now your sale price becomes really a regular price for somebody else. So it makes sense because of the quality. Because your business is really based on quality. You guys have huge great customer service, and the experience that you provide is what people are going to buy, yes. Not necessarily the tea. So with events, it's the same with me. People will argue my price, but once they experience it, that's when they're like, I'm going to buy more. But the trouble part in that is getting them to experience it, right? You got to get them in the door. So like you're doing with the samples, that works. But keeping in mind, you have to put, if it's a sticky note on the back of your phone, this costs me $15 per platter to make. I need to sell this platter for $25 because $5 off of every platter is mine. That $15 needs to stay there, because if not, if you gave away 4 platters that day, right? You gave away $60 of your money, and now that actually, depending on how many you sold, that was your cut.
That was your cut.
But 4 platters may not seem that much because you wanted to help somebody, but now you've given away all of your cut, your pay for the day. So being in service like industries or things where it's like Joe Vason knows off the back of his head how much this is going to cost him because he does landscaping and he knows his material, he knows this. But for you to do something like food or things like that, sometimes it gets lost. People come with their stories and they tell us sad stories, but tea is a luxury. Mm-hmm. Tea parties are a luxury. Food is it's not a luxury, but having catered food at an event is a luxury. So keeping that in mind when people tell you their story, what your number should be, your base number.
Okay.
So how I even overcome that? Everything for me is broken down, itemized, like you said, raw material. So I do landscape, for example. People will say, my mowing doesn't do well. I'll be the first to admit, my mowing does not do well. Well, I break my mowing down. It's the material, it's the equipment fee. I gotta upkeep, I gotta maintain, I gotta fuel, I gotta change my blades. So there's like a $2-3 charge on there, maybe even more, depending on how big of a lawn it is. So it's also broken down by acres. The more grass you cut, the more you mess up your lawn, your blades. So if it's like a backyard in South Philly, no problem. If it's something out in Jenkintown, Abington, it's gonna cost a little bit more because you're tearing up my blades and I gotta clean it, which is more time for me on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So then you gotta fuel it, you gotta gas it. Okay, well that's a cost. Okay, I have to go to you. I gotta load the equipment, I have to waste time to get there, and I have to waste time to go and load up and load and reload. That's time you're paying for. I haven't even cut your grass yet.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta trim. We need wires, we need blowers, we need bags, we need fuel. All of this has a rate for me.
All the supplies.
And now we're getting into labor. Depending on how big it is, I might need a helper too. We need 2 helpers, we need 3 helpers, and we need somebody to clean up. So now you're paying the salaries for all 3, 4, 5 of these guys. And if we're going all the way out for one house,
Yeah.
it's one thing if we get 5 houses, 10 houses, okay, now the rate can start to come down. And that's the difference between bulk quantity. So if you're buying bulk or wholesale, they want the whole pack. Remember you told me the big pack. If I'm buying the 1 juice, the 1 shot, it actually costs you more if you buy 17 shots. But if you buy the 1 big pack, it probably saves you a little bit more money because it's not as much work into it. It's just straight raw price. So my pricing online, I never had the pricing. It's just a baseline price. This is where it starts. So everything on my website says starts at here. That's where it starts. No matter what, I can't go below that.
Right.
Now, from there, for you, it's different. Now it starts to go up or down based upon what your needs are. So, we're not in the business of losing money.
That makes sense.
Question number 3. For the established business owner, scaling up, longevity, the people who are looking to scale in a non-traditional way, the question was, what was non-traditional way to attract high-value clients? I like this one too.
Okay, so a non-traditional way for me is to do my research, I guess. Is that non-traditional?
I think so.
Okay, so meaning like do your research on a person. I made this mistake before. I have gone into a room where I say I want business to business clients, and I go in a room full of huge executive business owners, and I'm talking to them about turning how I can apply services to turn your hustle into a profitable business. That was the wrong audience because they don't care about turning a hustle to a profitable business because they're going from 6 figures to 7 figures. They passed the hustle. So I got up there, and once I said that out loud, I said, oh shoot. And I revamped my services and said, but that's not for y'all. Let me tell you what I can do for
Quick
you.
pivot.
Yeah, because I could see their faces. And at that moment I understood, okay, you have to have a pitch for this and a pitch for that. And you have to be able to speak the language of the room, but educate them through their language what your business does and how it can relate to them. Understanding who you're going in a room with. No, I won't know what everyone does when I walk in a room. I actually never do because I'm not that person that prepares beforehand and say, let me look at the guest list and let me do research. That's a lot of work. As a CEO, I don't have the time to do that. However, as Jove said before, we get in that room and we look like the most anti-social or introvert people in the room. And it's because we literally spend about the first 20 minutes sitting there and studying the room. And you can tell from body language, you can hear the conversation. So everyone else is having the conversations you need to have for you. You're hearing accounting, you're hearing, oh, they got money. You're hearing, oh, I just bought this company. You're hearing everything that you need to hear. And the keynote speakers are there, and people are introducing the keynote speakers. So now everybody's flocking to the keynotes, and they telling them about their business and what they do. I done heard it all in that first 20, 30 minutes. So now when it's time for me to get up, I know the exact 2 people that I need to go meet because I heard everything that I needed to hear. And I also saw how people ran to them. I don't want to be that person and finding out where your people, that your customer is hanging out.
I am a researcher by nature, so I will research on somebody specifically that I want. And I think I'm really, really big on showing up. I don't have time to be ignored. I get personal. I start getting a little antsy, like I emailed you twice. I talked to your accountant. I left my card. So I waved bye-bye to that a long time ago. I will research the person, research the company, find out who the executive director is, find out where they like to kind of hang out a little bit sometimes, and I will show up. And I'll literally, like, what time do they get off work? I'm not going to hang out. I'm not going to their bar.
Okay,
I'm not going to their house. But I need to know if they leave at 4 o'clock. I need to know if they work in the morning or if they work at night.
You see.
And I'm going to show up. And I'm just going to be sitting there and say, hey, Chris, how you doing? they don't want to embarrass themselves, so they'll say, "Hey, how are you?" And then boom, it's on. That's all I needed was that, "Hey, how you doing?" And remember me? Look, and then I'm talking. It's on after
I mean,
that.
it's so different reading a pitch on paper, but then having someone who's passionate about
I want it.
their business to actually come in and give an in-person.
I want, because no one expects you, especially in this
Yeah,
impersonal
they don't.
era, this impersonal era that we live in. No one likes to be personal. No one likes to talk. Everybody likes social media. No one likes face to face anymore. Most people can't even hold a conversation. So I don't need to talk to you for more than 5 minutes. I just need 5 minutes of your time. In that 5 minutes, I want to see what it is that I bring to the table that can help you think you're high end. So you've already done everything else. People that are high end, they like exclusive. They like, you said, unique. They like creative. Here, how about this? Have you ever thought about doing this? Allow me to be that person for you. Use me to do something new that no one else in your industry has done. I've done the research on your industry. No one else is doing this. Allow me to be the tool for you to help grow your business in a unique way. That's it. Once you do that, most people are blown away that you even took that much time to research their organization or their company and thought outside the box to research their market to get them ahead of all the rest of the people in their market. So I'm a student of them and I become a fan of them. So when I get an opportunity to speak to them to help them grow their business, I just want to be that person to help them grow their business in a unique way. And I'm going to use my business as a way to do it. And we both, in turn, we're helping each other. Like, I'm helping you grow, I'm helping you complete something, and we're going to stand up together. We are actually going to build a network in a unique way that no one else is doing. So
Yeah, and so to piggyback off of that, and now my thought just lost me, right? Oh my gosh. So, yes, unique. There we go. So, when you said find out where the people hang out at, you know, a big one for me also is when, because this happens to me a lot, a person ignores you or does not get around to answering you, but then you see the person in random, in rooms that you're in. And I mean, they could be in completely different networks. I have run into people in 4 different rooms, and they always like, "Oh, hey."
that's it.
And now you've seen me enough times where you're like, darn, okay, I maybe need to connect to this person. But at the same time, that literally happened to me today with somebody trying to connect with me. And I realized it when it was full circle, and I was like, ooh, this person,
They got me.
they got me because I've seen them 3 times, and I really need to connect with them or figure out how can I work with this person because they have put in the effort to be in a room with me 3 times. So I'm gonna build something because that person made the effort to be in a room with me 3
You guys
times.
are giving me so many ideas because, like, I live in an economically diverse area where there are a lot of affluent people because it's gentrified, and I'm like, postcards would be the thing. Because, like, when you're in a diverse neighborhood, people want that cultural experience.
Right.
That well-rounded cultural experience. They want new flavors. So you guys are giving me some great ideas.
Creative form.
Awesome.
Creative form. Create
I
these
love
things.
it.
All right. So that'll wrap it up for us. Thank you so much for sharing with us and coming on and taking time out your day away from your family. I love the input. I thought it was all amazing. And I just couldn't thank you anymore for being here with us and sharing space with us. So first and foremost, thank you.
Oh,
And I
thank you
do
for
want
having
to
me.
highlight, so with Spanish Flavors, Khadijah is the owner, but I want you to tell us what do you do? Because you talked about it, but you never explained. So you assist with Spanish Flavors, but what is your business?
So, Khadijah and I have been friends for over 20 years. She helped me raise my children. And we were young Muslim women in the community, both having a similar experience, both married to men from overseas, and living in the Northeast where it was pretty diverse. We had different neighbors, we had different friends. The masjids were pretty diverse at that time. And so we kind of had the same experience when it comes to the flavors and the food, and we had the friendship and the connection. So my friend has this vision because she's really big on like, yes, we know how to make all these things, but we also have our own Puerto Rican heritage, and we put our own little Spanish twist on everything that we make. We make the sofrito, we put the adobo, we got the sazon, you know, and we learn all these other different techniques, and we kind of like make a fusion of everything and blend it to make it become even better. And we always had that understanding, and we always had that that flow working in the kitchen with one another.
Yeah.
Whenever she's doing platters, I'm helping her. Whenever I'm doing platters, she's helping me. I have some of my own things coming out, but right now, like, I believe so much in the cafe that my dear best friend Khadija wants to put together, and there's so much that we could do because there's so much that we could offer because of all that we learned. But like you said, we want the multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
We want the spices in the stores. We want our frozen concentrate for the lemonade to be in the grocery stores. I want halal frozen foods in the grocery market. So it's like I'm her other half in Spanish flavors. She has strengths that I don't have. She's more of the social butterfly. I'm more of the planner, the person in the background. Both of us are real heavy on the cooking. But yes, it's like we're a partnership that complements one another very
I
well.
love that.
We want each other to win. And we are so grateful for your guidance, Marie, because we have all these dreams. You know, we have a dream of a halal international buffet. We want a cafe. We want to be able to throw on these parties and come have your board meeting here. We're gonna provide the tea. We're gonna come have your tea meetings here. You know. We want to provide that hospitality experience and give that cultural diversity and give everybody that variety. And we're like-minded, so we thought instead of just working on her working on her own, there's so much that we could do together. And she wants for me what she wants for herself.
I love that, because I just want to say, to compliment all of it, is that me and Jove speak highly on collaboration, and we love collaborating with businesses, and we love when people can come together as a collaboration, a partnership that complements one another, or even when you did not think it could complement, you come together, as we have created Tea Time, right? So I love that, and I just want to say I appreciate you, and I also wanted to acknowledge you and Khadija, because both of you are two whole powerhouses brought together.
I encourage you to drop your comments, likes, anything below. Be sure to follow. See you next Sunday with another episode of Executive Insights.
All right, see y'all.
See ya.
That was awesome.